Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to another stream slash recording of Hearthstone. We are recovered mostly from E3, and so this is just back to a normal thing. Took me a little bit longer to get all the news. We may very well be in the point where we're going to get more consistent news, which certainly would be nice, I guess. But first things first, I need to trade out this $40 gold thing. And let's find out what I need to do on the America servers at the least. Win 5 Tavern Brawls. Ooh, I should have seen if Tavern Brawl was an available thing. Play 20 minions that cost 5 or more. And play 10 pirates. And we've got nobody online right now. Interesting. Let's see, what is today? Today, I believe, since I'll have to be playing this anyways, is Saturday, June 17th at about 5 o'clock, I would say, Central Time, so that probably means a lot of people are out and about. They're certainly probably not watching TV right now, since there would not be anything on. In general, I don't know if anybody's watching TV anyways, but which gets us right to our first news story, that an article has come out declaring that Netflix has for the first time surpassed cable. Now, in all realisticness, I think that is more a statement on just how bad cable has gotten than anything else. This is an interesting combo card, but it is certainly something cool. One of the things I'm trying to do with Hearthstone, as might as well just hop into it right now. I'm looking at my schedule, trying to get everything done. Right now I have 5 videos every Monday through Friday coming out, which has me playing more than 5, like consistently more than 5 games per month, since most months don't have 5 characters or 5 weeks. That's what I'm trying to say. And so while I still want to maintain 5 until October, which is how far I'm trying to look ahead, although I'm not quite there yet, I'm thinking maybe after October I might let the 7 o'clock time slot end. That means I would move AAA games, the big ticket games, to happen before the 6 o'clock airing of Hearthstone, which moves it to the 5 o'clock time slot. Which would certainly help me try to do what I planned to do last year. So I've been trying for an entire year to, well, almost an entire year now, to be ahead more and more. And instead, what's happened in the past 3 or 4 months is I got sick. I've gotten just kind of exhausted and kind of tired too. So things are just simply not happening as well as I would like it to, and I'm just not getting as much footage as I would like to have earned, had to have made. Certainly it doesn't help me go through my large collection of games to slow down and release even less, but frankly, I've just hit the maximum speed capable of myself being able to do it.
So many
ideally, this also means that I can still keep the kids time slot, which I would like to keep. There's still a lot of reasons I think to try to highlight kids games more than AAA games anyways, but taking out the 5 o'clock time slot kind of pushes the AA and the single A games into one time slot at 4 o'clock, and the point and click adventures are happening at 3 o'clock, and then until I run out of point and click adventure games, that'll continue to happen. And well, actually, when I ran out of point and click adventure games in the 3 o'clock time slot, I was planning on going to FMV games too, which that itself represents a merger. So the other thing to try and help is I'm playing LA Noire right now, and I'm trying to use as much of my ability as possible to make episodes a little bit longer. No, I mean a little bit shorter, which is, so instead of going an hour long on some of these series, particularly since I've run into 4 or 5 series that felt like the right thing to do would have been to go for an hour long, but then they were only 20-hour games, and this guy is not playing at all. In fact, I could have won right there if I hadn't summoned the Trents and just used my ability. So, what was I talking about? I'm a little scatterbrained today. That's part of the problem is as I'm trying to record things, I have to get my head in the right space, and talking and playing games at the same time is difficult. It's more difficult than Hearthstone because I'm doing multiple things, but it's still kind of difficult in playing other things. So yeah, I'm covering LA Noire right now, and even though I know I'm probably gonna skip a significant amount of the collectibles and things like that, I'm trying to make 45-minute. Well, I am making 45-minute episodes instead of hour-long episodes, just so I can squeeze 1 or 2 more. It's not a terrible idea in the first place because, frankly, it's when YouTube tells me my average viewer duration is only about 3 minutes, that tells me I probably should have shorter and just more to the point videos. YouTube is certainly weird, but unlike the cable industry where TV shows are constantly getting shortchanged because of a need for more commercials, I'm getting shortchanged, or YouTube wants me to shortchange the length of episodes just because people have less attention span for YouTube videos than TV. And maybe because there are commercial breaks in TV, that has actually trained people to expect that, and
justice is mine.
So this might fall right down onto TV. Like, maybe I should just go the equivalent of that first part of a TV series. Like, if it's a 30-minute show, they go 8 to 12 minutes, I would guess, in the first section, and then they have a 2 to 3 minute commercial break, and then maybe. But trying to do something like that doesn't work because of the way YouTube is lately, where it's very much punishing multiple releases. And that's another thing I can't really fix either, is that my channel, unless I just decide to be incredibly lazy and try to destroy what I set out to do just for potential favor with YouTube, I cannot accommodate what YouTube seems to want, which would be to live stream no more than once a day. Like, and just forget about covering old games and doing retrospectives, and just forget about the $500, the 500 games, way more than $500 probably worth of games on Steam, and instead just play Hearthstone, maybe stream new games if you can get them brand new. And that really doesn't differentiate myself, and in a weird way YouTube doesn't seem to want people to differentiate their channels. That's the problem with this, with the black box artificial intelligence algorithm that seems to run YouTube suggestions, is it literally wants everything to be the same to because that's all it has figured out how to do, how to determine that a video is worth watching. And so then YouTube eventually will get to a point where it's boring, because all of YouTube's algorithm is just going to promote things that are exactly the same, which sucks. Anyways, let's move on to news, since we are going to go 45 minutes in these. I definitely need to go longer than the 30 minutes I was doing in Hearthstone, but shorter than what I was doing on other things. Let's do this, and then this, and then attack here, and then the turn. Beyond Good and Evil 2, remember that was announced at E3 if you watched the streams with me, and when it came up, that trailer at the end of the Ubisoft conference, I said no. I just was shaking my head and screaming out loud, no, it's not happening, this isn't real. And I feel somewhat justified in that statement, because according to Michelle Enzel, it is at day 0 of development. That they don't have the technology, they don't have anything done. No surprise. Now, here's the problem though. Why believe Michelle Enzel now? He, before E3, lied and said that it wasn't going to be shown at all. So, like, it's just kind of lies upon lies. Ubisoft can be proven that they are advertising the way they talk, the way they say things to the public and to the news reporting press and video game critics, is they just lie completely. Direct, provable lies. I don't even feel the need to say allegedly here. I think we can find evidence that they lie. So if Michelle Enzel is saying that Beyond Good and Evil is at day 0 of development, I kind of want to believe him, but I also kind of don't believe him. I'm like, well, maybe this is a lie. Maybe Beyond Good and Evil is completely done and it's out to go. And on top of that statement, there was a completely different article that said you could create your own character in Beyond Good and Evil 2. So how can you already know that it has a feature to create your own character when it's at day 0 of development? Like, the phrase day 0 of development doesn't really mean anything, but I would translate it to mean that literally not a single line of code has been written. And it's just been what I would guess a instance of them being in meetings and hiring out trailer teams to make animations. Blizzard 2 is making Diablo 3 challenge rifts in patch 2.6.0. They've shown some of that off. So if you're still playing Diablo 3, I'm sure you're interested on that. I talk about Jim Sterling too much. I really do. And I wish I didn't have to again. But with Greenlight, Steam Greenlight gone, and now Steam Direct running, his show Greenlight Good Stuff can't continue because there is no Greenlight. So I hadn't really given it any thought. I figured it'd probably just go away and he would probably just make less videos, and I guess that would probably hurt his Patreon. He doesn't get ad revenue through YouTube, but he probably guarantees a certain number of videos per Patreon. Although maybe not. Maybe he just does one weekly Jimquisition and that's all he guarantees, and everything else is extra. Regardless of how that works, instead of just letting Greenlight Good Stuff go away, he is now backing and covering Kickstarter projects that he backed. And in his first video, he already implied he would like to work as a voice actor in the game that he started and backed. So this whole thing is just wrapped in like, I don't know if collusion is the right term. Unethical journalism is definitely the right term. Like, you don't cover games that you have a financial tie to. Now, Kickstarter arguably doesn't really have a financial tie because you're not going to make any of your money back. It's not like Fig, which has anybody mentioned or even looked at Fig in a long time. I should also point out, if somebody's talking on the chat, I'm looking at it on my phone, but I had to order a different TV. The one I was borrowing I didn't get to keep, so for that reason I just bought a different one, which will probably work a lot better anyways. You have been. Wow. So I do have one on the way, so that will be fixed. I still don't particularly like the idea of having two monitors driven at the same time. On my video card, my GTX 970 is not really powerful enough to be driving two monitors when I want the main monitor to be at 1080p and have all the graphics and all the frames. Like, there's almost certainly going to be some loss of frames there. And hopefully the TV will only have to be used when I need to see the chat when I'm streaming Hearthstone, and then I can disable it or in some other way turn it off. Maybe just have to unplug it at other times to get full single monitor mode for all the other games, and then I'll be able, hopefully they'll update the OBS remote software, WebSocket software, to stream and let me know how long I've been streaming and that I am actually recording. Right now I am flying very blind, which means I could go for 45 minutes streaming and playing a game and none of that actually record, and then that's going to be a lot of work. Yeah, is there anything else to say about Jim Sterling? Completely unprofessional, completely inappropriate. He just does whatever he wants. You should not have kickstart games and then cover games, because you're invested in that game succeeding at that Kickstarter level now, and because you've invested in it. Therefore, you're now going to hype up the game more and promote the game more than you should, which is not the job of a video game reporter or critic at all. And you certainly don't invest in a company and then say, how about you give me a job? That's 100% the opposite of what you want. If you want a job, you approach a company and you get the job. And if you get the job and you're a video game reporter, then you recuse yourself and you set up a firewall between yourself and anybody in your organization who might be covering that game. You don't voice act as Jim Sterling has done in We Happy Few and then cover We Happy Few, even if he says, well, this isn't a review because I'm in it. It's still you're promoting the game and that you're in. Honestly, this isn't just Jim Sterling. There's a lot of people that want to be in the video game industry, and if you want to be in the video game industry, the one thing you can't do is be a critic or a news reporter. It needs to be separate there. Imagine if politicians, whatever side of politics you might fall on, imagine if all of them turned around and became news reporters that covered politics. That would be unacceptable. Unacceptable. Maybe it has happened, but usually not. Or imagine if news reporters who are highly critical of politicians turned around and became politicians. Normally what happens is we have in the United States major corruption in the sense that lobbyists become politicians and politicians become lobbyists. So a politician passes a law to help Coca-Cola, and then after a certain small amount of time in which they're not legally allowed to become a lobbyist, they all of a sudden become a lobbyist for Coca-Cola and get paid way too much because in the form of an unprovable kickback for passing that law before. Let's see. Moving on. So yeah, I'm playing LA Noire. I had to do a lot of research and Take-Two and just try to figure out, like, Rockstar, the company that makes GTA, had this company that they kind of chewed up and spit out called Team Bondi that made LA Noire. So we're never gonna see an LA Noire 2 probably. Let's see. Let's go ahead and attack here. And then attack here. And then do this. Just to irritate him. So, yeah, Rockstar, makers of GTA, had this side team, Team Bondi, that in Australia that allegedly they didn't credit them properly in LA Noire. They took their names off the credits if they quit. They forced everybody to work long 12-hour days, and I'm sure they did a bunch of other things too. It seems like they were very, very unkind might be the best term in their treatment of that company. And then that company was making a game called The Horror of the Orient, which is based off of, I think, a novel or something, but certainly you're not going to sell a game by that name. But you could have called it something else to maybe just shorten it to the Orient, or the Mistress of the Orient. Maybe you just try to clean it up a little bit. The Lady of the Orient. Like, there's ways you could probably get that on shelves. But finding out Rockstar, it turns out, looking at Rockstar's Wikipedia and doing research for LA Noire, turns out that they're owned by Take-Two. So then I looked and said, well, who's Take-Two? What do they have? And it turns out Take-Two used to be 2K, and they've been publishing / releasing games for decades, and they're really this kind of Hydra in hiding, and that's eventually what I called this special video that I put out, just going through the massive list of games that Take-Two, formerly 2K, has published. And it, from what it looks, Take-Two has been, for a very long time now, putting very little effort to profit very much off the video game industry, because they simply don't bother to actually have their own companies make games as much as they just want to publish other people's games and make a percentage on that, which is nothing inherently wrong with being just a publisher, but it also means that you're not really contributing. You're just being a middleman, and that's really what it is. It's this middleman that is gigantic, that has published so many games, so many of your games that you've probably played. BioShock Infinite, all the BioShock remasters, all of that, Take-Two. They published Gearbox's Borderlands series, and now we know Gearbox is its own publisher. Also, Starbreeze is a new publisher, and there's several other companies that are becoming their own publishers. But for a long time, they had the connection somehow, and they were making all the money. At the beginning, the company that is now known as Take-Two kind of made their own games, but not really so much these days.
I have big plans.
Let's see. Should I kill somebody? Or should I save myself? Let's play a little conservatively here.
Justice is mine.
And that all kind of ties right into the whole Take-Two sending a cease and desist to Open4, which is this modding tool that allowed a lot of other mods, which is a company in Russia, so they had to have their Russian legal team send a cease and desist, and that certainly has irritated a lot of people, and there has been a petition signed by 20,000 people, which, like, what is that really going to do, but whatever. And then there's been a lot of downvoting. Arguably, it's just been downvoting on GTA, when, in all honesty, if you're going to downvote, I think you probably should downvote every single game that Take-Two actually made, and it's hard to figure out actually who that is. Or maybe you just downvote everything that Rockstar made. You would have to decide on your own whether how and if you want to go that far.
Justice is mine.
Like, is it really fair to downvote or boycott, say, Borderlands, when Gearbox is a private company and they just had Take-Two as a publisher? Or some would say yes, that just by association, that you're so mad you should do that. Is it fair to downvote something else made by Take-Two that's not Rockstar? Probably, because it was Take-Two that sent this cease and desist, and it's in all the meanwhile Rockstar was promoting and thumbs upping Open 4 and other mods like it. They came back with a statement saying it let people cheat and mess with the online service, which is not what I hear at all. I hear that they bent over backwards to make sure it could only be used in single player mode. And they certainly didn't work with them at all, so that's not really a fair statement in my opinion.
Justice is mine.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna win here, and I kind of need the victories. At the end of the day, Rockstar or Take-Two, I think you have all the right, if you want to be mad at both of them. Personally, I would say all the downvoting of GTA has made suggestions on Steam a lot better, because all those games that had the same tags and tried to be GTA clones are not being suggested anymore. It is also worth mentioning that just recently, I think today, GTA has also shut down a cheating tool called Force Hacks, which was a pay for mod. So from what it seems, it looks like Take-Two is going to go on just a stream and try to shut down all of the mods that they can do, cease and desist as many as they can, which is really stupid because the mods are kind of all Take-Two and Rockstar have. I know they're working on Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever, but they really only have like one company, it seems, capable of making a game at all. It seems like everything else, all the other companies are just hired out per project, and they don't really seem like they want to make projects. They're worse than even, say, Bethesda alone, where Bethesda's making Fallout and some kind of Skyrim, and then ZeniMax has purchased other companies to expand that. In contrast to what ZeniMax has done, where they purchased the owner id Software, so they have Doom, and they purchased the owners of Dishonored so they can have Dishonored, and therefore they have more games. Take-Two purchased companies and then just got rid of the people. They didn't keep them on. They didn't keep them working on anything. So they've really shut down studios, from best as I can tell. And I'm mostly speculating here, but it seems like that's very much the case. And they only have one studio, it seems like. One big enough to probably work on the next GTA, which they'll probably do. I wouldn't even be surprised if they came back and said, we're going to make a new GTA out of house, so we'll just hire a different company to make it. And then I don't think they're doing anything else. They'll probably hire a company to port Bully and their old games over to new consoles. But really not a lot going on in that company. And as far as Take-Two above Rockstar, I don't think they're making anything. I don't think they've made anything in years. So anyways, I put out that video, like, who is Take-Two, ? Rockstar, ? a Hydra in hiding. And I put that out a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, during my Borderlands time slot. Particularly because I accidentally scheduled that Borderlands to air at 4 a.m. Central Time instead of 4 p.m. So if you missed that video, that's where that went. You check my feed. Sorry about that. That is probably the at most third or fourth mistake I've made this year in scheduling. What happens is when I'm often like what happens is when I'm recording, I get a little tired sometimes and I just make stupid mistakes, and I'm only human, I guess, is the response there. Mistakes will happen, and in all honesty, for as rare as it happens, if I had a secretary and I've had them go over all of my all of the things I do, there's probably a slightly higher chance of increasing the number of mistakes than reducing it, depending on how OCD and perfectionist the person that would double check my work is. But yeah, what this really boils down to is YouTube's system just doesn't work well for me. Like, if I could do what I would prefer to do, which is have
who shall be next to taste my blades?
Justice is mine.
what I'd like to do is have every single video I upload be able to be put in a folder of sorts that says this is part of a series. This series is always going to air at this time. It's always going to have these elements, and just have checkboxes. Like, the description's always going to be the same, the title's going to be the same except for the episode number, the tags are going to be the same, the time it's released is going to be the same, the playlist it's going to be put in is going to be the same. If I could just have a reference, effectively, which is something that was added to OBS Studio too, is that I can have streams that are references. So if I change some setting on, say, capturing Hearthstone, any other profiles or scenes that I am also capturing Hearthstone. For example, at the E3 I was capturing Hearthstone over here in the corner, which I don't think I'm going to do that next E3. I think next E3 we're just going to watch it straight. Let's see. Like, so, yeah, if I could just have everything be referenced, I don't need to, so much of the paperwork I have to do on YouTube, and it's not just me, it's every YouTuber, is just repetitive things over and over again. And a lot of it, I'm getting to the point where I want to give up. It's like, I do hashtags for Twitter, trying to get more people to see my videos on Twitter, and it just doesn't work. Twitter's not a good service to promote videos, and Facebook's even worse because they won't promote videos unless I uploaded my videos directly to Facebook and not YouTube, which I'm not willing to do. Google Plus isn't any better, so the only thing that even slightly promotes my videos is YouTube itself and their tag system. I just kind of do the same tags with slight variations over and over again, and it doesn't help at all. The number one thing that has gotten more people to see my videos is simply just live streaming, just being live now. Everything else has been SEO'd, search engine optimized out of into oblivion, and I just I cannot be ahead of the curve of that and figure out all the tricks before somebody else figures out all the tricks. Moving on to news, I suppose. Other news. Dying Light is getting 10 free pieces of DLC in 12 months, which is oddly phrased because it seems like in exactly 12 months from now, you're going to get 10 pieces of DLC instead of what would be more realistic is that 10 pieces of DLC will be released in the next 12 months, staggering it out. Dying Light is a 3-year-old game, however, so it's surprising it's getting any DLC. It's the Techland is the makers of that, and that is kind of the spiritual reboot remake of Dead Island, and it's pretty popular from what I can tell. Let me reload the chat, just make sure nobody's trying to talk to me. So
justice is mine.
I guess I should just play this. I got nothing better to do.
Justice is mine.
That being said, I don't have any real details on what the 10 pieces of DLC are, so it might be just 10 outfits, 10 skins for guns, 10 things like that. Even at that, I don't think you can really be too upset. Like when you think about the fact that this game is pretty old, getting any more anything in it to keep you playing should just be appreciated. I would like to see a Dying Light 2 come out in about a year. That would be the next step. Let's see, draw a card if it's a beast that costs 4 less. Which enemy you restore 2 health to hero, destroy an enemy minion. Minecraft crossplay is going to be powered by Xbox Live even on the Switch, which ideally that means it would work perfectly fine on the Switch and it wouldn't require any kind of login or any kind of anything at all. But when you take a step back and remember that Nintendo intends to make you pay like $20 a year once they get their online service online, and the Xbox itself is Xbox Live Gold does cost, I think, $60 a year. So there's a potential. There is 4 scenarios as I see it if you want to play cross-play on Minecraft on the Switch. 1, the best case scenario, the scenario they should most definitely do, which is it costs you nothing and you don't need a Nintendo online account and you don't need an Xbox Online account, free or otherwise. The second scenario is that it costs you nothing or it costs you less than the maximum, but you only need 1 account. Remember, this is kids too, so it would be appreciated to not have kids encouraged to make accounts on the Nintendo account or Xbox account. The second scenario is it's going to need both accounts, but cost you nothing, or it's going to need 1 account and cost you a little bit more. Like, it could be that you don't need a Nintendo account, but you do need an Xbox Gold account. And then the worst case scenario, of course, would be you need an Xbox Gold account for $60 a year, and you need a Nintendo account. Oops, forgot to turn off the ringtone. I don't know why my ringtone is like that. So we've been going. So like, hopefully they'd go do right by it. That gives more, I guess, of the reason why Sony doesn't want crossplay on their system with Minecraft. They don't want that to happen. They don't want to encourage people to know that Xbox exists. I suppose in Japan in particular, you could run into a decent number of actual gamers that play PS4 that aren't even aware that the Xbox is a thing.
Take your medicine.
Let's see. Do this.
Justice is mine.
This. And then this.
Job's done.
And then the turn. Speaking of companies, I mean, I just praised ZeniMax and Bethesda for at least buying out the companies and keeping them working instead of shutting them down almost immediately. It is worth pointing out that in sharp contrast of that, The Elder Scrolls 6 is not in development, according to this news report I saw, at all. Which seems odd that it wouldn't be in development. Like, that...
I've got the beast in my...
That just seems to be beyond what it should be. Like, you would think, particularly at the very least, the story would be in development. But according to this, it's on the third. It's the third on the list of their priorities. So, like, when are we gonna get Elder Scrolls 6? It may be a very long time because, like I've said before, as long as they're focusing on the Elder Scrolls Online, there's really no reason to do it. In fact, a great example of that is Activision Blizzard, makers of Hearthstone. Like, there was a Warcraft 1 and a Warcraft 2. Have we ever seen a Warcraft 3 in the past couple decades? No, we have not. And we haven't heard any talk of them even ever planning on making a Warcraft 3. And that's because World of Warcraft is out there. And World of Warcraft is still making money. So, yeah, we may never see another Elder Scrolls game. Which, in all honesty, we don't actually, in my opinion, need an Elder Scrolls game. What we need is a fantasy-based game in a sprawling open world that's interesting. And Zelda Breath of the Wild might step up and just steal that platform. What is this guy? Immune this turn. Let's see.
Justice is mine.
That didn't quite work as well as I had hoped. Keith Robertson, who was the Intellivision Productions president, has died. He's a veteran. He was a veteran games producer, but you're talking Intellivision games, so that's the first generation of video games. Maybe I'm wrong on that. It might have been second generation. Before the Nintendo Entertainment System, Intellivision games kind of are the things that nearly destroyed, almost completely destroyed the video game industry forever. I'm not going to blame that directly on him, but he made a bunch of old games. What we're seeing right now is a case of a lot of older people who are very much at the beginning of the industry dying. And it will just continue down that way because people have an average lifespan, and so we're approaching that. In the next decade or two, more and more recognizable names to you who's listening right now will happen. Will start passing, but also there will be new names added to the industry. So those new and fresh-faced people certainly will become an issue. Will fill in replacement. I don't know particularly about doing obituaries, but it is news. It's more news than half of the things in the video that I report. So I do want to say it's kind of a shame that I just whittle it down to one sentence of all that he did, but there's probably a lot more he did, but I just don't know it. So we've gone 45 minutes, 50 minutes really, and we now just need one more tavern brawl. I can easily play 10 pirates in one game, and then play 20 minions. I need to play 8 more minions that cost 5 or more. And if anybody gets online and they really want to play me, that's great. If I finish all the daily quests and I still have stuff to work on, that's fine, because now I can go to the European and Asian markets. I have noticed that when I adjust myself in the chair or lean forward, the audio gets really loud, and particularly when I start an episode, I'm really loud too, so maybe I need to lean back a little bit further as far as possible when I start up. Nobody complained about the video quality or the audio in the E3 stream, so far so good, I guess. Anywho, if you're watching live, stay tuned. Everybody else, as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.